Hey YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to do a review for Alice in Wonderland, which I saw tonight, and I thought it was actually pretty good. I went in expecting it to be either pretty mediocre, and it was a little more than mediocre. There were things that could have been better about it. For instance, the story lacked a lot of substance at the beginning. I'd say probably for the first maybe half hour, it wasn't, I wouldn't say boring. It lacked substance. There was a lot of back and forth of questioning, and it kind of dragged until it really picked up into the story and the just the characters getting involved and everything. Uh, Pretty much, and this sounds it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but once Johnny Depp came into the film, it did get better. I just think because he was the Mad Hatter and everything, it lightened it up and really brought everything more into play, and everything else fell in between with it. Um, Everyone in the movie played their part very well. I thought. I This girl who played Alice, Mia Wykowski, or she has a very unusual last name. I can't pronounce it. She's Australian. Not that I don't know. I guess because her last name is Australian, but she this is the first movie I've ever seen her in, and she's been in some other things here and there minorly, and probably her career will pick up more now. But no, I thought she was very good, um, very convincing, and it's been so long since I've seen the cartoon uh, version of this, the 1950s Disney Alice in Wonderland, that I couldn't really remember uh, the exact way everything is in the story and like the characters and everything. I kept asking my friend throughout, like, was this and was that? And I mean, I remember the general plot, of her falling down the rabbit hole and the Red Queen and the White Queen and so forth. But in terms of little minor things here and there, I couldn't really remember. And it's been so long also since I've read the story itself that I couldn't piece that together to know if they did that exact justice. But Alan Rickman as the caterpillar, though he wasn't like superimposed, like they didn't put his face on the caterpillar, his voice alone, his voice distinctly enough, and it was amazing. And just to clarify for people who don't know the difference between a bong and a hookah, I'm going to make that abundantly clear right now that it is a hookah he is smoking. Because when I was in the movie theater, the people sitting behind me, as soon as he came on smoking it, they're like, oh, look, the caterpillar's smoking the bong. No, it is a hookah. And I can't remember if it clarifies in the actual story, if, even if it mentions it, if he's smoking tobacco. But come on, seriously? I mean, yes, I know it's a fantasy world and everything, and smoking weed would probably be more along the lines of hallucinogenic, but just it's a hookah. So I'm just gonna point that out right now. But I loved him as the caterpillar. Choosing him to do the voice for the caterpillar was so dead on perfect. Johnny Depp, perfect also as the Mad Hatter. I think we all knew this, and everyone who goes to see it knows that. And it kind of one thing though that bothers me is throughout the whole campaigning of this film, they only ever just put his name on the commercials or the posters. I mean, Anne Hathaway's pretty well known, and so is Helen Bonham Carter. I don't understand why they didn't credit them more in the advertisement process, but either way, you know, I mean, it's a Tim Burton film. Him and Johnny Depp work well together, and here again, it shows very well. My friend fell asleep actually through it. Um, he was very bored for at least nearly half of the film. Um, but he said, like he said, I said, once Johnny Depp got in, it really picked up, and he really played the part very well. He is definitely a Mad Hatter. Um, and I was reading that Johnny said that this was a dream come true to him to play this part, and he mentioned how his hair is orange, and he said because like a lot of hatters, uh, they suffered from mercury poisoning, and he said that he thought the background of his version of the Hatter was that the mercury had seeped so he'd been poisoned and it had seeped so far into his system that it had affected his hair, it affected his fingernails, and it affected his eye color, and that just shows you how well into character development he takes it, how serious and imaginative he really takes it to own the part, and he owned it. Just like he owns every part he plays. The man is brilliant, and anyone who says different, I think you need to shut up because you obviously don't know anything about anything. The March Hare, who is his his sidekick there at the table, hilarious. Honestly, he was probably. I mean, I loved a lot the whole set of the characters, but he was so funny to me. He was just so jittery and just hopped up on caffeine or just whatever it was. He was a mad hare. He was they're both mad together. It was hilarious. Um, Crispin Glover played the Knave of Hearts, and he's a good actor. He always plays like the creepy role, and there was a few moments where that, sure enough, shined through for him, his creepiness. But no, I like him. He's a very good actor, and I liked him being cast as that. Anne Hathaway was very good as the White Queen, very very beautiful like she is, and very flaunting about in like a nice, elegant manner. Very, very her. I thought the casting for her on that was very great. And Helena Bonham Carter, who is Tim Burton's wife, uh, as if any of you don't know that, she did very well as the Red Queen. And I was actually reading an article today that said she stole the show kind of in a way from Johnny Depp. That though he did very well, she kind of stepped up and took a bigger stance on her part and kind of stole the show. And I know I liked her part a lot. She did very well. Everyone owned their parts very well. I liked it a lot. Again, like I said, the beginning it kind of dragged. Could have there was a lot of back and forth, lacking substance. Kind of like they just pieced it together really quickly, you know. But it was really good. It was funny. It was a charming film. Very much a children's movie. Because it didn't need to be anything more. It is a children's movie. Um, I mean, I know the whole myth about whether or not Lewis Carroll wrote the story on hallucinogenic drugs, but that's a whole different thing altogether. That's a debate in itself. But it was very good. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. And I say that because again, there's a few things that could have been different, a few things that I just was like, well, that's interesting, but mainly uh, it was the lack of it really it pulls you in, because you're like, oh, okay, Alice in Wonderland, she's gonna go down the rabbit hole, and she's gonna, all this is gonna happen. You know what's to follow, but the whole leading up to it was very minor, very, I don't know. And I know they couldn't spend a lot of time on it, and I sound like I'm backpedaling and being hypocritical, but maybe when you go see it, you'll know what I'm saying. Maybe it's because I look at it from a different stance because I'm going to film school, but my friend and I both agreed it lacks some substance. Not really dialogue wise, just character wise. There was a lot of uncertainty. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I think you all should go see it. I hope it does well. And I would like to know what you think. So you can leave me a comment below. And that's really it. I hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you next time.